Hello friends, it's Alexis. I am so excited to be sharing my reading goals for next year with you guys, and make sure you stick around to the end because I have a super special announcement. So every year I like to set some reading goals for myself just to kind of mix up my reading, make sure I'm not reading all the same genre, kind of track what I'm reading in the year. It's all for fun, there's no kind of penalty if I don't do it, and it's really just for tracking purposes for myself. So I've come up with 5 reading goals for myself to try and complete in 2025. Number 1 is a big one and definitely the scariest one on the list, and that is to read down my physical TBR. I just went and counted all of my owned unread books, and at the time of filming this video, I have 208 books, which sounds like a lot, but at the beginning of the month I had closer to like 240, and this is after reading and unhauling. Now I'm gonna be realistic with this goal. I don't think I'm gonna be able to read 208 books in a single year. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll surprise myself next year, but this year I'm at 170-ish books read, and we still have 2 weeks left in the year, but like, I don't think I'm gonna read another 30 something. And I think last year it was right around the same number. I think I made it to like 180 books read, so I usually don't hit 200. I'm also going to allow myself to listen to the audiobook for these books because audiobooks are reading, and it doesn't really matter how I'm consuming the book as long as they're getting read and moved out here to my completed shelves. So a big part of completing this goal is going to have to be prioritizing my books that I already own instead of buying new ones, which brings us to goal number 2. I don't want to swear off completely buying books because that's just not realistic for me, but what I do want to do is read the book the month I buy it. That's the rule. I'm no longer buying new release books at full price and then letting it sit on my shelf unread for 2 years. Like, if it's that important that I have to buy it, I have to read it. That way I'm not increasing the amount of unread books I have. It'll just kind of cancel itself out at the end of the month. I know it's not the perfect strategy for getting my physical reads down, but like, also I don't want to limit myself to just not buy books next year. The rest of my goals are going to be a bit more genre specific. So number 3, I want to read 5 sci-fi books this year. Sci-fi is a genre that I don't read a lot of, but every time I do, I really enjoy it. So next year, I really want to pick more up and kind of like broaden my reading tastes, because right now I really just stay in like the horror, fantasy, romance genres. So I definitely want to mix it up a little, and I do already own some sci-fi books that will be top priority for next year. Just to name a few, there's Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, The Illuminae Files. I have read the first one and really liked it, but I need to pick it back up and continue the series. I have 2 of Emily John St. Mandel's books. I read Station 11 like a year ago, loved it, so I want to get back into her books. I have Ready Player One on my shelf that I need to read, and the rest of the Gideon the Ninth books. That's another one. I read the first one, but never continued the series. I am definitely still open to recommendations though, so if you have any good sci-fi books that you love, please let me know in the comments below. Goal number 4 is going to be that I want to read 10 nonfiction books next year. This is a really standard one that I do every year. In the past, I've always done 12 nonfiction books, like 1 a month, and then 2024 was the first year where I'm not going to be completing 12. So for next year, I just want to decrease the number a little bit. The nonfiction books that I already own and will be my top priority are A Little Devil in America, The Wager, and The Stranger Beside Me. But this is another one. If you have any good recommendations, specifically memoirs, please let me know. And last up, goal number 5 is going to be to complete 5 manga series. I'm currently in the middle of quite a few manga series. I don't know why, I just never gravitate towards them to pick them up, and they're like so good to put on a TBR because you can usually fly through a volume in under a day. Some of the mangas that I currently own and are in the middle of is Death Note, Happiness, Blood on the Tracks, Monster. I don't own it, but I am in the middle of The Promised Neverland, and then I own the first volume of Parasite, but I have not started it. So I'll have plenty of manga to keep me busy and be able to complete this goal. You might have noticed I didn't put a total number of books I want to read, and that's because every year I've just been crushing that goal, so it's not really necessary for me anymore. If you follow me on Goodreads, which my profile is always linked below, I always set my reading goal to 120 books every year. That equals out to 10 books a month, which I'm happy with, and it's been a long time since I've read less than that, so I really have no worries about completing that. So yeah, numbers don't really matter to me, and I definitely don't want to raise it to say 200 because then I feel like I'll be pushing myself to rush through books. It'll make reading feel more like a job than a hobby. Next up, I want to talk about some goals and updates coming to my channel in 2025. First up, I'm super excited. On January 6th, I will be celebrating my 1 year on YouTube, and in celebration, I will be filming a Q&A video where I will be answering any question you might have. If you missed it, I did put a post up on the community tab where you can submit your questions to me. You can also leave them in a comment below, or you can DM me on Instagram. I will take any question you have, whether it's bookish, about my life, about my pets. Nothing is off limits. I just might not answer it if you're too weird. I'm kidding. Next up, I have another very exciting thing coming in January, and that is my new TBR game. I'm currently in the process of putting it all together now, and let me just tell you, I really popped off on it. You can expect the first round of the TBR game to come at the end of December, beginning of January. I don't know the exact date yet, but when I do, I will put it up as a premiere, and I'll be there to watch it live with you guys. I know I'm already asking for a lot of things from you guys, but again, if you have any suggestions for prompts, let me know in the comments below. Seriously, give me the wildest, weirdest prompts you can think of, I will do them. And finally, what we've all been waiting for, this super special announcement. I am starting a book club in 2025. You might have been wondering why I had this stack of books next to me this whole time, and the reason is the book club is going to be classics themed. In 2025, I will be starting the Quarterly Classics Book Club. I really hope that name is original and I'm not stealing it from anybody. I looked around a little bit and I didn't see that anybody else used it, but if you've seen it before, please let me know and I'll give that person credit. But yeah, like the name says, every quarter of the year, we're gonna read a classic together. By the end of the year, we will end up reading 4 books. So now that I have you interested, I'm sure you're asking, how do I join? For our book club, I have created a Discord channel linked below that you can join to be a part of this with me. Every quarter of the year, I will post a poll where you can help select what our next read will be. Once a book is selected, I will create a specific channel for the book inside of the Discord. So once you're a part of it, you don't have to join anything else. And then I will section out the book by each chapter. That way we can talk and discuss the books and not worry about spoiling each other. And then at the end of every quarter, I will be posting a spoiler-filled reading vlog for our book club pick. I really wanted to start this book club in 2025 because classics are something I collect, but I don't read a lot of. And I've seen similar things online. A lot of people are really intimidated by classics because they're a little difficult to read sometimes. So I really wanted to create this community of people all reading the same book where we could ask each other questions if we're a little confused about what's going on. Joining the Discord is not a requirement of the book club. If you want to just read the book on your own and then come back and just watch my spoiler-filled vlog, that is fine too. There are no strict official rules for this book club. I just want everybody to have fun and I want to get some of these classics off of my TBR. So with all of that out of the way, I think it's finally time to pick our options for our first read. For this year, because I'm trying to read down my physical TBR, I am only including classics that I already own, but don't worry, it's still a huge list. There are 39 total books that we have to choose from. The complete list will be in Discord if you're interested. It contains 33 books I have not read before and 6 of my favorite classics that I would be super excited to reread with you all. I've put the entire list into a spinner wheel and I'm gonna spin it 4 times right now so we can get the options for our first read. Okay, I'm using the classic pickerwheel.com. Let's go. Here is our first spin. Okay, Beowulf. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little intimidated by our first pick, but I have a really cool edition, so let me get that and I will show it to you. Okay, so I mean, look at how pretty this copy is. This is published by MCD Originals, and it's a new translation, translated by Maria Headley. And it's short, so like, honestly, this might not be the worst pick. So this one is about a man who seeks to prove himself as a hero. A monster seeks silence in his territory. A warrior seeks to avenge her murdered son. A dragon ends it all. Nearly 20 years since the last major translation of Beowulf, here is a radically new verse translation of the epic poem, which brings to light elements that have never before been rendered into modern English. Maria Headley's version transforms the story we know of monster versus hero into a tale in which these two categories entwine, in which justice is rarely served, and in which dragons live among us. So this is going to be option number 1 for our first book club read. All right, back to the spinner wheel. We're gonna take that one off the board, and here comes our next one. Okay, again, not a super long one. Let me grab it. So of course, for our next option, we have The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is another one that I bought because of the stunning edition. This one, I got it in a set, so I have all of his works in these cloth-bound covers, and it is by Arcturus Books. I will link all of my editions in the description in case you want to get your hands on the same one as me. So yeah, this will be option 2. This one is actually Fitzgerald's debut novel. It's the story of a Harvard-educated man named Anthony Patch and his beautiful wife Gloria. As they await the inheritance of his grandfather's fortune, their reckless marriage sways under the influence of alcohol and avarice. A devastating look at the nouveau riche and the New York nightlife, as well as the ruinous effects of wild ambition. The Beautiful and the Damned achieves stature as one of Fitzgerald's most accomplished novels. Ooh, okay, so this could be fun. It sounds like it might have some of the same themes as The Great Gatsby, one of my favorite books ever, so not a bad option. All right, back to the wheel for option number 3. Yay! I was kind of hoping this one would go on, even though it is a reread and I should really be prioritizing my unread books. Option 3 is going to be Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is truly one of my favorite books ever. It is just so wholesome, and the first time I read it was in December. So it's perfect for all of the wintry, snowy vibes. I think it actually opens up on Christmas Day. Yeah, it actually opens up on Christmas Day. So I would be so happy to be back with the four sisters. If you don't know what Little Women is about, it takes place in America during Civil War time, and it follows these four sisters. But of course, we have to talk about the star of the show, Jo March, just one of the most iconic book characters ever. Jo is a bit of a tomboy and a little bit different than her other sisters because she doesn't really care about going off, getting married, and having children. All she wants to do is to be an author. So if you would like to read one of my favorite classics with me, this is an option. Okay, back to the wheel for our last spin. Be something good. Okay, another F. Scott Fitzgerald. Final option for the poll is going to be Flappers and Philosophers by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Ooh, okay, so I didn't know this. This one is actually a collection of 8 short stories. So this is a good pick. Again, not super long, and because it was written in the 20s, hopefully the language won't be too daunting if you're new to classics. All right, guys, here we have it. Here are the options for our first book club read of 2025. The link to join the Discord will be below in the description, and this is where you're going to find the poll to vote for which book we will be reading. So it will be going up on Wednesday, December 18th, the day this video is going live, and it will run until January 1st. And for those of you who still want to participate but aren't joining the Discord, on January 1st, when the poll closes, I will also be posting on the community tab here on YouTube, as well as on my Instagram, so make sure you look out for one of those announcements. All right, guys, that is finally it. I truly cannot thank you enough for making 2024 just so incredible for me. When I started this silly little YouTube channel, I did not think anybody would care or watch me. I was really just doing it because I love talking about books, and I am so grateful to have your support and this little community that we've built this last year. I won't get too sappy here. I'm gonna save it for the 1-year Q&A, but thank you guys. Whether this is your first video or you've been watching since day one, thank you. So as always, friends, I hope you read a good book today. I hope you have the happiest holidays, and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.